Hey everybody, it's Chris Eads, known online as Wootini, here with another one of my Gay Gamer video podcasts. This week, as expected, it's all about No Man's Sky Next, because that dropped, and that's literally basically all I've been playing. It's kind of sad. I was playing it in anticipation of it, and that rekindled my love for No Man's Sky, and then the update dropped, and I've just been obsessed with it. I would have worn a No Man's Sky t-shirt if I owned one. Unfortunately, when I tried to buy one of the official No Man's Sky t-shirts, they were like on sale, and then it was cheap. But the only shipping option was like FedEx or whatever, and it was like $20, and I was like, I'm not paying more for shipping than I do for an item. I just don't do that. That's just obscene and unacceptable, so no. There were no cheap shipping options, so I'm like, never mind. But as for No Man's Sky Next, it's awesome. It's terrific. It's still got some bugs. They're working them out, but they're not game-breaking bugs, at least not for me. I know some people have lost save games. I did not. I was just confused when I started and everything had changed. But I don't know if it's the kind of thing where if you didn't like No Man's Sky, maybe now you will, because the basic game has not changed. They've just changed some elements of it, and it's still not like story heavy. They've added additional like mini quests and side quests and things, but they're just fetch quests, and it's not a story. So if you're looking for a story game, this is not it. But I don't really care because everyone complained about No Man's Sky when it first came out. I was obsessed with it because it's exactly what they promised me I would be able to do, which is to explore an entire universe and have an awesome time doing it. And they would just randomly create planets for me to explore, and I could just do that to my heart's content until the end of time. The first thing that I noticed when I booted up No Man's Sky Next, which unfortunately did not download in the background on my PS4, as I had expected while I was at work that day, I came home and tried to turn it on, and it's like, oh hey, I have to update, and it's going to take like 15-20 minutes to download this and install it. Sorry. Rude. So I waited, and the first thing I noticed is that there is a noticeable graphical upgrade. Not just like ringed planets and clouds and things. Like everything just looks better. Like right away. I had originally taken a picture of the planet I was on, the building that I was standing outside of, so that when I started, I could take a picture of what it turned into after the update. But as with the big updates, it starts you back at a space station, so never mind. But I turned around and looked at my ship, and I was like, my ship looks more detailed than it used to, I swear. So also they changed the look of the space stations so that it's not, you know, it's like this big wide open area now, and there's just these tables and chairs and like people just milling about. Well, they don't mill about, they just stand in a place, they're just standing about. And then there's not just the little thing where there's not just the thing where you sell your stuff, there's also like little booths where you can upgrade your ship and your multi-tool, and you can buy upgrades and stuff, and then there's like little booths for like, you know, the guild missions and stuff, and you can talk to random people on the space station and they might give you something or give you a mission to do. So there's a whole lot more to do. Granted, like I said, it's not like a story, it's just busy work. But I don't care. I think it's great. So now, instead of going to a planet, I tend to go to a space station first now to see if there's like, you know, Explorer Guild missions that I can do. And if somebody wants me to go scan some plants or feed some animals or whatever, then I'll go down to planets and do that. But they did change more than just the graphics. They changed, like, the basic gameplay is still the same, in that you explore, you refuel, You collect, you refuel and explore and collect and refuel. It's the same cycle. But they changed like almost everything. All the elements and the technology, it's all different. And like the first night I was like, I don't know what I'm doing and this is insane. And I'm like Googling like, how do I make a warp cell? Like, how do I make fuel for my ship? Like, what am I doing? What is this? What is this chromatic metal? Where do I find that? Like, everything takes that, it seems. Help. And then, luckily, I had randomly taken off Wednesday for just a random day off work to relax and do whatever I wanted. And what I wanted to do, it turned out, was figure out all the new stuff in No Man's Sky. And luckily, so I had a lot of time on Wednesday to do that. And I figured it out. And once I made the adjustments to say, oh, okay, so the red crystals aren't plutonium anymore, they're carbon, but you need carbon to like build stuff, so fine. The little red plants are no longer thiamine 9 or whatever, they're oxygen, but oxygen is super good to have because that refuels your life support. The yellow flowers aren't zinc anymore, they're sodium nitrate. But that's fine because they serve the same purpose of refueling your hazard protection, which thankfully doesn't take up 6 inventory slots for the different radiation, heat, cold, and toxicity. It's 1, and you just refuel that. 1 covers all the different kinds of hazards, which is, I like that. Anything that takes up less inventory space is good. Specifically, they also, now, when you collect the nitrates, like, they don't take up inventory slots. You use them as money, but you don't have to collect them in your inventory. They're up with the money, so that's fine. Thank God for that. But, like, it took a little adjusting. And people had said, people suggested, like, starting a new game just so you could go through the tutorial and learn the basics, just to relearn the basics of it and how they've changed things, and then go back to your original save. But I was like, I kind of like the challenge of, like, figuring it out. Granted, I did make sure that I, like, found a planet that was, like, not, like, super toxic or radioactive or hot or cold. That way I could, like, walk around and explore and figure out what's what and relearn everything without worrying about dying every 5 minutes. And the basics of the game are the same. You just have to learn, oh, okay, like, there's no more iron, you know, it's ferrite, you know. But then there's also a portable processor unit that you can build that you then can put elements into to turn into other elements, because that's how you get the chromatic metal that, like, everything seems to take. You have to use, like, copper or iridium or whatever. The problem is the copper is the only one that's, like, super common right now for me, and copper, it takes, like, 2 units of copper to make 1 unit of chromatic metal, so it's, like, really obnoxious. But, and then you have to sit there and watch it go, and then finally you get what you want. And you can also use that to process other metals to make other things so that you can make things, but I don't really know what I need to make stuff yet, so I'm basically just making the chromatic metal right now. And once I figured it out, I was like, okay, I'm fine. Like, this is good. I can get around, I can explore, I can discover, I can do stuff, and it's fine. And then I felt more comfortable, and I could enjoy playing the game again, without getting super frustrated by every little thing. They just made things a little more complicated as far as, like, refueling your ship. Like, you can't just get plutonium. You have to, like, make metal, and then the blue crystals are the new red crystals. Those are dihydramine something or other. And you combine that with the metal plating, and it makes a fuel cell for your liftoff thrusters. You can also use uranium, though. And I did actually find it was a radioactive planet, I think. I don't know, but there was a planet where I found something called golden fingers. And they were actually, like, these golden fingers sticking up out of the ground, these, like, rock things. And they were each a different element, but there were a couple of uranium ones. And I'm like, score! So it took quite a bit of mining because they were tough, but I eventually broke them down, and then I had the uranium. And as a tip, the uranium seems to last longer than the fuel cell does. So if you can find uranium, stock up. It's good. But I also was able to help out another player because I did do a little bit of multiplayer. Not a lot, but I was playing, and then a friend of mine online was like, hey, can I join your game? Because you can either choose to join someone else's game or play your own game that someone can join. You can then go into the menu and turn off online completely if you're really not into it. Thankfully, he didn't just show up in my game, he asked if I could join. So I was like, yeah, come on in. I'm like, I'm on a radioactive planet and I'm not going to be playing for much longer because it's late, but come on in. And he showed up, and it turns out he was in desperate need of help because he was stuck in a system. When he rebooted his game, he was stuck in a system that had one planet, it was shitty, and he didn't know how to make a warp cell, and he just wanted to get out of that system and into a system with more planets and more options. And I was like, you know what? I'm currently looting a crashed freighter, but the last planet I was on, I also looted a crashed freighter, and they're way better. You don't just get nanites, you get like legit stuff now that's a little more helpful. And in fact, the last crashed freighter, I got like 2 or 3 warp cells out of those storage containers. Mind you, the storage containers, as soon as you open them and get your thing, you have to run away because they start leaking lethal radiation that will almost kill you in seconds. And this particular crash freighter, I was on a radioactive planet, so it kind of sucked because you run away from that radioactivity and it would still be radioactive. Not as radioactive. But I was able to like transfer to his inventory a warp cell, and he was like, thank you, God. That way, when we left, he went back to his own system and he was able to continue on with his game and do what he needed to do, and I hope that helped. Because like I said, I was able to go to a relatively comfortable planet so that I could relearn what everything was and how to do it, the basics. If he was stuck in a system with one planet and it happened to be like a shitty, like super cold planet, that would suck. So being able to take a warp cell and go to another system where you might have some more options, hopefully that was able to help him. I'm totally loving it. The photo mode is gorgeous. Like, everything looks amazing. I have not found... The ring planets look great. I have not yet found a ring planet that is good to take good pictures on. Although I did find one tropical ringed planet. It was beautiful, tropical, whatever. I landed on it. I was like, this is awesome. And it had like threatening sentinels that if you like looked at them funny, they would try to kill you. So I was like, I'm out of here. I'm not even going to scan anything because they're going to try to kill me just for scanning plants. I'm out. I don't deal with the threatening sentinels. It's just a pain in the ass. But I've been flooding my Twitter, Wootini GG, if you're interested. I've been flooding Twitter with tons of pictures and video. The only complaint that I have right now is I can't restore my base. In the space stations, there's teleporters, but it won't let me teleport to my base because it doesn't exist, because everything got reset, so my base is in, like, a computer system somewhere. So I need to go to a planet, find a base core, go to that base computer, and I can restore it to be my base. Unfortunately, I can't find a base to start with on any planet that I like. You can start a base wherever you feel like now, which is awesome. But when you try to start a base anywhere, it doesn't let you restore your base. There was an option called upload base, but that didn't actually seem to do anything. So I don't know if I'm doing it wrong, but I've been trying to find a base to start on. And then there was this gorgeous tropical world that I was on with like beaches and palm trees and floating islands, and it was gorgeous, and I wanted to build a base there. But I couldn't find one. And I kept using the navigational data that I found all over the place in my little signal booster to try to find it, but it kept finding me every building that was not a shelter. And it was super irritating. Also, I kept leaving the signal booster there and then trying to go back to find it, but then not being able to find it, so I'd have to like gather the elements to build a new signal booster. And I'm sorry to the universe for leaving signal boosters all over planet surfaces. I'm just forgetful. I forget to bring it with me because you have to pick it back up again after you put it down. So I finally gave up because also on this tropical planet, I would try to scan and it would say, oh hey, there's a transmission tower over there. And I'm like, great. Oh, okay, it's too far to walk. I'll get in my ship and go. The minute you look away, it's gone. That icon disappears completely, and I have no way of getting to it. So, hopefully they fix this bug. Because I've also scanned planets, or just been flying around on a planet's surface, and it's been like, hey, there's a suitable base starter here, and I'm like, okay, but where? Like, it comes up on the screen, and then it says, hey, there's a, you can build a base here. We found a place where you can build a base, and I'm like, but then I look around and I don't see the icon anymore, so I'm like, you're just teasing me, and that's rude. So I'm basically just going to wait on that until they like work out the bugs. But I would like a base because I have a lot of crap in my inventory and I would like to store it. Because there's just too much crap. And I don't know yet. There's some stuff that I figured out, oh, okay, this is really common, I can throw it away. I can sell it. But then there's other things where I'm like, I feel like I might need this, so I'd rather store it and not have to worry about, like, stocking up my inventory with all this useless crap. But I don't want to sell it because I feel like I might need it. So I'd like to build a base, I just can't quite do it yet. Because I don't want to, like, build a new base. I want to get my old base back so that I have all my people, my employees, and my storage and everything. But I'm afraid that I might end up like restoring my base on kind of a shitty planet just to have it, if I can find a base building starter building. So I'm going to shut up now because I feel like I've gone on like this is going to be one of my epic ones. So I'm going to stop. There's still way more to talk about, with No Man's Sky next. So I'll figure out afterwards what I forgot to mention, and maybe I'll remember and I'll talk about that next week. We'll see. So if you are playing No Man's Sky next and you have some tips and tricks, please share them in the comments because I will welcome all tips and tricks. And I hope that my tips and tricks, not that I've given you any, may have helped you. So that's it for now. Bye!